I am Kesten Rono, and today is day 182 of A Course in Miracles, reviewing Principle 32. I inspire all miracles, which are really intercessions. They intercede for your holiness and make your perception holy. By placing you beyond the physical laws, they raise you into the sphere of celestial order. In this order, you are perfect. And are here is italicized. You are perfect in this order. I inspire all miracles, which are really intercessions. They intercede for your holiness and make your perceptions holy. By placing you beyond the physical laws, they raise you into the sphere of celestial order. In this order, you are perfect. We remember on 23, miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. This is healing because sickness comes from confusing the levels. We know that miracles allow this transcending from body identification to spirit identification, this sudden switch beyond our physical selves. I inspire all miracles, which are really intercessions. They intercede for your holiness and make your perceptions holy. So, something about the way we are perceiving the world, not holy, but being holy, allows us to see all things in holiness again, worthy of heaven, worthy of perfect peace and perfect safety and freedom from worry, innocent again on the other side of forgiveness, full of grace upon seeing your own salvation. By placing you beyond the physical laws, beyond your body identification, into this spiritual identification, this centering that allows communication to naturally flow. By placing you beyond the physical laws, they raise you into the sphere of celestial order, your mind with God. In this order, you are perfect. May it be so. I trust my brothers who are one with me. Let us remember that for this section, we are setting aside our defenselessness or defensiveness and recognizing our defenselessness, that there is something beyond defending ourselves, which allows us to see some other way of being. Our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks that keep your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of our goal. We are attempting now to lift these blocks, however briefly. We concentrate first on what impedes our progress still. Experience of what exists beyond defensiveness remains beyond achievement while it is denied. It may be there, but you cannot accept its presence. So we now attempt to go past all defenses for a little while each day. No more than this is asked, because no more than this is needed. It will be enough to guarantee the rest will come. So, setting aside your defense of anything and allowing this idea of your spiritual identification to come into focus. Let's try it on with lesson 182. I will be still an instant and go home. Please repeat after me. I will be still an instant and go home. I'm reminded of the idea of bringing the quiet with us. May we notice stillness, even for an instant. I'm remembering the quote, we are an instant's space away from timelessness. And to go home where we think that we are what we are when we are physical, to go home is a suggestion that there is something somewhere, some idea from which we originated that we've been long away from. In order to go home, we must only be still an instant, this suggests. Setting aside our defenses, we say, I will be still an instant and go home. This world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind, you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what is the voice reminds you of. You still feel an alien here, from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are an exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. Yes, I feel this reflection in less than whole truths. No black pill, just the simple reflection that, oh, this story is obfuscating something, and the truth must be all encompassing. And I know that it is simple because even in these complex ideas, it can be boiled down to, when this is held up to the light of truth, what remains? There is something about what truth is that I am aware of, even if I cannot fully articulate what I mean. So, yes, I feel this idea of home and it feels true. It feels that truth is the North Star, the fullest idea of fullness itself, the place of acceptance for what is true. And this, I feel, is my home and my orientation and the way I would like to conduct myself and see myself in my mind operating physically in a true sense. No one but knows whereof we speak, yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who, in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in an endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing that it is he seeks, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. He does not understand he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. It's this or death, death being the reflection of anything opposite of joy, God's messengers being joyous, sharing the perfection of what simply is. Heaven is, truth is, love is, abundance is, fullness is. And if it is not joyous and earnest, it is not so. Unless you want to convince yourself that it could be. One problem, one solution, which indicates that there are infinite other ideas, minute permutations, and appearing opposites But God is that without an opposite. And unconditional love is exactly unconditionally loving. And the truth is all encompassing. It must be, or it is not the truth. We can trick ourselves, but there is some way of seeing beyond our words and beyond our defenses that offers us a peace that we have not allowed ourselves to remember. I will be still an instant and go home. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again, the childhood of your body and its place of shelter, are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. Yet there is a child, capital C, there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. Your eternal self, your child self of God, seeking your father's house, not your childhood home, and your child self, long since grown up into the physical of becoming yourself, lowercase s, understands that home is the idea from which you sprung physically and the story that you have been spinning for yourself. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. It is this child in you your father knows as his own son, capital H, capital O, capital S. It is this child in you your father knows as his own son. It is this child who knows his father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly. His voice cries into you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. The Son of God shall return. Have you ever pictured this idea as yourself, a child of God, returning to heaven, this place in your mind which offers the truth? This idea of some prophecy of the return of a prophet. Religions declaring no other prophecies to be told until this event happens. What if one way of picturing this event is instead of Christ becoming physical, it's physical you, transcending physical you, and accepting the infinite consciousness that connects you to all things before time and after time and outside of time, beyond time, eternal. This childhood is eternal. And in this sense, the child of God, of course, with every mind, will return, as no idea may leave its source. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return, but give him just a little time to be himself within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. This child needs your protection. He is far from home. He is so little that he seems to so easily shut out. his tiny voice so readily obscured, his call for help almost unheard amid the grating sounds and harsh and rasping noises of the world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection. You will fail him not. He will go home, and you along with him. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you, for he would bring you back with him, that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong, and where he lives, an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling to let him go in peace along with you to where he is at home and you with him. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are home. So poignantly he calls to you that you will not resist him longer, that God will speak specifically, directly to you. May you heed this nagging idea. With my dogs, they can wear an e-collar, and the e-collar has a vibration to it. The shock is not often needed, and even then, its degree can be changed, of course. If the dog is veering off course, one tactic can be to use the vibration, which can become this little voice coaxing it back to attention, to connection. And the vibration can just cease when alignment is reached again. So perhaps I ask the dog to come, and the dog starts coming. Good girl. And then she finds a distraction because this idea is new, and this idea returning home is not the most valuable thing right now. And so she veers off, and perhaps the vibration turns on for her. And it's peculiar. It's this idea directing her back. And when she comes into alignment, good girl, good come, the vibration ceases. Of course, this is probably not a one-to-one direction, but when we are off course, it does appear that there is something trying to get our attention. And that simple something is that everything around us is reflecting some insane idea, some less than true truth, hoping that we believe it, asking us to turn ourselves over to fear and some version of death or destruction or dis-ease. It's insane when you realize that you cannot find the health and peace and safety and timelessness that fixes all the ways of all the problems you may have by continuing to invest in ideas that reflect to you they cannot be those things. We can see our own insanity, and we can start to hear God's voice calling us back home. Hey, come, come. Just an idea. There are, of course, many ways to align and connect with the dog. Rest with him frequently today, for he was willing to become a little child, that you might learn of him how strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. Offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. Yes, our deception within ourselves is that we believe we are in conflict with God as truth or love at all, that that idea is even possible. Of course, it is not the truth. And of course, it is requiring conditions upon the unconditional. Our alignment with fear, as fear may not leave its source and therefore only express fear. When we are feeling fear, it is not the thing on the other side, especially within our mind, not a physical idea, but in your mind. What could you possibly be afraid of feeling? It's a trick, of course, and it is insane that we turn ourselves over to it, myself deeply included. Can you imagine being fear and being afraid of something that you hope you can't notice would be true? Why? Because the truth is all encompassing. And if your story about how the truth is destructive, that it is lacking, if that is your allegiance, well, from the perspective of the truth, you will see that it is impossible to be lacking in wholeness. It's conflicting. So fear does what it knows only and expresses fear. Why? It believes it will die. And of course it will, from the perspective of fear in truth, not from truth itself. Truth itself offers only light, life. It may only bless. There is no sacrifice because there can be no lack inside of everything. The truth must be all encompassing. So all that falls away is that which is not true. And that which is not true is not so. It cannot be simply. If it cannot be simply, then it cannot be infinite. The truth is all encompassing, and fear is deathly afraid that you may assume a miraculous perspective of alignment with the truth by moving from your physical self to your spiritual, infinite mind self. Because inside of that, which may only bless and has no sacrifice, the truth is fear does not exist. And so fear is constantly afraid of the truth. Fear is afraid and making rules, conditions on what love can be, that you must be afraid to be in love. But love itself, unconditional, is that without an opposite. And so it is the same idea. Truth says, you must be afraid of that thing. And love says, I love you. There is nothing in contention with it. It's insane when we give ourselves over to ideas of death. Again, that being any dis-ease opposite of perfect joy. To see perfection, even for an instant, to feel that timelessness allows something to unlock that says, maybe this fear thing isn't as full as I thought. And so fear gets louder. But you've tasted something of fullness. And as we align with that perception of fullness, we can turn to fear and say, it's okay. I love you and you're welcome here. Would you like to feel how complete it can be to not be afraid? So rest with him frequently today. For he was willing to become a little child that you might learn of him how strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hands and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them, that they may see he who would be friend, capital F. He gives strength to them, that they may see he who would be friend to them. He asks that they protect him, for his home is far away, and he will not return to it alone. Interesting idea about defense. and still asking for protection. That when we heal, we know we do not heal alone. That when we save, we are not saved alone. We can just sit with this idea and this conundrum, although I'm sure it is simple and clear, that your self, capital S, self, in eternal alignment with God, that without an opposite, aware of the truth, and unconditionally loving of whatever experience you choose to have in the infinite array other than the truth, is simply waiting to be reunited with your physical self, that you are both somehow, at least, and that you join together by joining with others in a physical sense. I trust my brothers who are one with me. Of course, it is the reflection that we may notice in our image making that allows us to see that by sharing the idea of loving messages and offering the infinite in what appears to be a finite only world, full, infinitely full of confusing messages, when there is actually only oneness, one problem, one solution separate from oneself. By whispering this idea into the physical world, we see the reflection that is not it in the physical world, and it's insane. It's insane. Do we need to go insane because we are noticing this insanity? Of course not. We're whispering the answer, and therefore we hear it and see it reflected in the eyes and hearts of those around us, especially the people that we come into contact with. And you can start small, who challenge you emotionally and anchor you to that moment in time, right there in space, before you're able to realize that you've had so many moments in time and space. You can't even remember them all, that they're not actually here and now. And that's the trick. The simple trick is that you have presence, the opportunity to bring the quiet with you, loving messages, an idea of the all encompassing truth. Where does it exist? Right here, right now, always, always. This is our message to ourselves for our brothers. Thank goodness all these reflections exist so we may see the truth in what we offer, that we give the miracles we have received, and that we have something about us, a mind self. Of course, that is what you are, as we've discussed many times. Unless you believe that you are your physical self, then your allegiance must be to attempting to preserve that which cannot be preserved. It's insane. So we offer an idea that is beyond anything that can be comfortably understood from the fear of our flesh. And that's the beauty in it. That there is something about knowingness, not just reading from a book, that allows us to absolutely be aware of an idea of completeness and love and perfection. And so this is what allows us to rejoice. And this is what we are sharing. And this is what we are sitting with. That this idea, this spiritual identification, is beyond any way of seeing any kind of defense. And the protection that we are offering to our capital S self or capital C child is our eventual or always present awareness that we will succeed in knowing this idea, even if it cannot be by design made with images or words in physical time and space, that these are all ethereal things. And it is something in an instant's respite of connection now, where we arc that electricity, that connection from our physical selves and our mindful selves. And as we instantly become this child, as we instantly become our true self, we instantly know we are totally and lovingly connected in peace with God that simply is. And that current is enough to feel in the physical and say, aha, thank you for the reminder of my presence again. And we may find that in anything, in any detail of anything, anywhere, at any time, even without being there. Because that's all that is happening now, is the reflection for you to notice your eventual insanity in insisting that you be in allegiance to fear, your ego, and its ideas of death, the exact thing of which it is afraid. When you realize that setting this idea aside with love and forgiveness creates your innocence and opportunity to see yourself as holiness, that is your salvation, that God comes and offers you this grace and another way of knowing. And so, like neurons firing, we just continue with this practice and we notice more light and levity rather than being confused by the infinite principles, the graveness of the weight of your gravity. It's this or death, literally. It is either this idea or your allegiance to death, and death becomes your God. However ironic that it is a thing of which you are most afraid, or perhaps we're afraid of living. Christ is reborn as but a little child each time a wanderer would leave his home, for he must learn that what he would protect is but this child who comes defenselessness and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go home today, completed and completely. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go home today, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more. You have not lost your innocence. You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The holy child remains with you. His home is yours. Today he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still an instant, and go home with him, and be at peace a while. Be still an instant, and go home with him, and be at peace a while. This is our practice today. Be still an instant, and go home with him, and be at peace a while. I am Kesten Rono, and I choose to offer only love's messages to those who think I and love are their enemy. Be still an instant, and I'll see you tomorrow.